Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. This is Catherine here from the AHA product marketing team. So welcome to today's tutorial on reporting roadmap progress. We are thrilled to have you all here joining us live because this is a topic that many of you have requested. So we're excited to dive in and cover a lot of what you told us you're hoping to learn today. So now, without further ado, let's meet our presenters. We have Austin with us, who's the Director of Product Management here at AHA. He brings more than 15 years of experience leading teams and building software. And today he'll be sharing how reporting fits into a PM's daily work and how we approach it here at AHA. And then we also have Mark, who is a Senior Product Success Manager with more than 20 years of product experience. Mark works closely with our customers every day to help them get the most value out of AHA, and he'll be walking us through some real examples of the types of reports that deliver insights that stakeholders need. So we hope you leave this session feeling confident in how to showcase your roadmap progress and share the impact of your product work. So let's get started. Over to you, Austin.
Thanks, Catherine, and hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here with you today and talk about something that's really a core part of our workflow and probably all of your workflow as well, reporting. So as product managers, one of our most important responsibilities is communicating progress. But that's not always easy. Different stakeholders care about different things, right? Executives want to see how you're delivering against your high-level goals. Marketing needs to plan for launches, and sales and support, they want quick updates to keep customers informed. So reporting can quickly become time consuming. You might find yourself pulling data from multiple places, creating separate reports for different audiences, and answering the same questions over and over and over again, which nobody likes doing that. So we're going to help you there today. Before we dive in, let's take a quick poll. We want to talk about ask what types of reports do you use most often? Are you tracking goal progress? Are you tracking initiatives, feature progress, release updates, customer ideas, maybe something else? As those are coming in, so it looks like initiative tracking, feature delivery makes sense. So it looks like a lot of you are really focused on reporting progress, right? Whether that's strategic goals, tracking upcoming features, highlighting customer feedback. I think no matter what the focus, the goal is really the same. We want to give the audience the insights that they care about in a way that's clear, timely, and easy to access. So that's exactly what we're going to show you today. We're going to show you how to build meaningful reports in AHA roadmaps using the product data that you already have. So we'll walk through it from the perspective of who you're sharing with, whether that's support, sales, marketing, or executives. And we're going to start with the team that is often closest to the customer, so your support team. So support's usually the first one to hear about issues. They hear a lot of requests from customers. They hear about common points of friction that your customers might experience with your products. And they're hopefully capturing that feedback through ideas in AHA, which is essential for bringing customer needs into the product development process. But what really builds confidence with these teams is being able to show that there's a plan to act on that feedback. So as you're seeing on the slide, there are several types of reports you could build that would be especially useful for your support team. So for example, a pivot showing themes by status category, so they can see what's under consideration, what's planned, what's already shipped, along with corresponding vote counts. You might also look at a now, next, later roadmap that gives visibility into what's coming without having to commit to firm dates, or a chart of ideas by theme that helps to surface the volume of customer challenges that you might hear over and over again. The last report, ideas by theme, is one that we're going to talk through and build together in just a moment. But these types of reports help support move beyond just logging feedback and gives them real answers. So helps them understand what's been trending, what are we prioritizing, what's already been delivered, so that they can take these insights and then speak to customers with confidence and also reinforce the product team's responsiveness and help to build those customer relationships. So Mark's going to show you now how to build that chart and use it to keep your support team informed.
Great, thanks for that, Austin. So let's dive into the application here and go ahead and build that report that Austin was talking about there on that last slide. Before we do that, I just want to point out that as we go through the application today, I'm using this Fredwin cycling as our context. So I'm a product manager in this Fredwin cycling application. So the data that we use is going to be really geared towards this particular scenario. I'm starting out on the reports overview page. This page is something that I can reach from the roadmaps menu and just selecting that overview option up at the top. This is a great place for me to be able to see all of the saved reports that I have available to me. I can look at what I've done recently. I can look at maybe those favorite reports that I've selected by starring those as I've been looking at them, or other reports that have been shared with me. We can pull all these together. I have one place to be able to access this or even create new reports as I go forward. Those of you who are familiar with the reporting area and within AHA might notice that there's a new look and feel that we've unleashed recently. So this makes it even easier to be able to see and organize these reports, to create different views of different types and pull these together and just organize everything that we're working with and share those across the organization even better. Now, there's also an area here that allows me to create folders. And so we hope that after this tutorial today, you're going to be going out and creating lots of reports for your organizations and your teams. The folders can be really helpful here for organizing those materials. So a great way to just put some structure around that so that you and others can be able to access these easily. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start by creating a brand new report. And when we do that, we get a dialog that lets us start with a couple of different options here. There's two ways to go. Number one, I could select a specific record to be able to dive into and use to be able to start crafting that report. Or if I know the way I want it to look, I can choose a layout first and then fill in the details later. Choose from among several different types available to me. We're going to start with this one. I know the data that I want. We want ideas. And so I'm going to go ahead and select ideas and choose ideas specifically with themes. Now, themes are another new record type that we've added recently to AHA, and are really good for being able to group and organize the ideas into specific areas that we're hearing from our customers. So we can get better understanding of the feedback trends that we're seeing. We can group these ideas together in ways that really make sense to us as we're understanding and discerning what we're hearing. In the past, or if you haven't used themes yet, you might be using, for example, tags as a custom field to be able to group these things together. But now you have this dedicated data type that's available to show up in places like this automatically where it can apply. So as I move forward, now that we've selected the data that we want to include here, what I want to do next is select the layout and the type of report that we're going to see. As we saw in that report, the page previously, I want to create a chart with this and make a nice visual to be able to move forward with. And so as I move forward in the process here, I can see the layout page here that allows me to see the record hierarchy, the ideas and the themes that we have selected, and allows me to further configure this. And so on this view, what I want to do is see a breakout of the ideas across the various themes. And so in my chart, what I'm going to do is have a count of those ideas, and I'm going to use the idea name as the record distinguishers that we can count. And across the x-axis on the bottom, I want to see that breakout of themes. So I'm going to choose theme name here to represent the x-axis. And then within each theme, I want to show a little bit more data. I don't want to just see the total number of ideas. I also want to understand how we're delivering against that in our progress. And so I'm going to show idea status as our series to be able to break those bars out. Now, the final step in the process here is to be able to add and decide the filters that we're going to put in place. And so I know that I only want to see the ideas that are actually a part of one of the themes. And so I'm going to whittle that down so that we only see the themes that actually exist. And so take out anything that's blank. With that, I can create my report, and voila, here we are. We have a beautiful chart that's laid out that shows me the number of ideas broken out by theme and segmented into this different status values that are out there. So a nice informative view that allows me to see really where we're getting that input across the different areas, and also where we're making progress against those ideas that we're seeing. Now, over on the right side of the page is a configuration panel. This gives me access to further customize the view. I can work with styles and positioning and the axes and the theories and work with those that are here. So there's always more flexibility to be able to further customize my chart. And as you can see, the breakout of the status here, for those of you familiar with the application, the status values each have their own color. Those colors are used here. So these are colors that are already familiar to me as an AHA user. So if I'm working in this workspace, this is already intuitive information as far as those status and the progress goes. Now, another new recent feature that we've added to the chart views is the ability to drill into the data. So it's one thing to be able to have this high-level summary of the breakout and where we're getting the ideas in our progress. It's another thing to go even further into that and really understand the details. So if I'm speaking to a customer, for example, that is really focused in on advanced analytics, I can show them and tell them that we have a lot of feedback in that area. And I can also drill into this to be able to speak more specifically to the specific ideas that we've already delivered in this area, things that they might want to explore, other ideas that we are working on right now and that are in the works, and maybe some other ideas that I might want to gather more feedback from the customer on to really round out our understanding of it as we consider this for future work. So this view can be really helpful to me as a support rep to give me that overall understanding, but also give me that next level of detail. Give me that understanding where I can drill in and speak to the specifics below this high-level summary. So as this is, I really like the layout here. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this for future use. And so when I choose to save a particular report, I can add a name. I can add this to my reports overview page, so that I can come back to this very easily later. So I'm going to pause here and we'll come back to this. We'll move on to our next group, and that will be the sales group. So I'm going to take it back to you, Austin.
All right, thanks, Mark. So yeah, we're going to shift over to another key group that has similar interest to support. Like Mark mentioned, your sales team. So here at AHA, actually, we don't have a traditional sales team, but our customer success team plays a similar role, and they work directly with both our new and existing customers. So just like sales, it's essential that they're equipped with timely, accurate information to help move those conversations forward. For sales teams, that's their priority, right? The priority is about advancing opportunities and reinforcing value. And so that means that they need to quickly be able to show both prospects and current customers how your product is evolving, especially when it's in direct response to something that customer has asked for. So that's where ideas really become a powerful connection point. So when ideas are tied to customer organizations and tracked all the way through to delivery, then you can report on exactly what's been shipped and which customers it benefits. On the slide here, you'll see a few useful reports for sales teams. We mentioned the now, next, later roadmap before. This helps to communicate kind of near-term and future priorities, a pivot of ideas by organization and status, which we'll build in just a moment, and a list of organizations and the related details. Actually, Mark, looks like you're on the support slide. If you could pop forward.
I'm sorry, I'll bump that forward.
Yep. So the one in the middle there is the pivot report of ideas by organization and status. So Mark's going to take us through that one in a moment. And then at the bottom is a list of organizations and their related details. So these kind of reports give your sales team a powerful way to follow up with confidence. You know, to go back to the customer and say, "Hey, you asked for this thing, and look, we've delivered it now." It's a simple but really impactful way to show momentum and to help strengthen relationships and ultimately help close those deals. So with that, Mark, I'm going to hand it back over to you to build that ideas by organization report.
Great, thanks, Austin. Let me dive into that. All right, first off, I have this one here, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that off and save that as ideas by themes. Come back to that later. And now, as Austin mentioned, we're going to get into ideas by organizations. So organizations are an element of ideas advanced. They represent a way to catch the or to represent your customers within AHA so that you can organize the ideas into a larger grouping. So instead of just understanding the individuals and the feedback that we're getting from specific people, you can get a higher level view to say what's the feedback and the desires we're getting from different companies that we serve. Organizations can even be grouped into higher level segments, so you can look at different parts of your customer groupings to understand large or small or east or west or different industries and say, what are they asking for? What types of themes and ideas are we getting there to get even deeper insights into where you should be focusing your energies as you go forward? So here we have the AeroCycle organization. And as I drill into that, I can see all of the collective ideas that the employees of AeroCycle have voted for. And so I can see a breakout across status within this. I can also see a breakout across time as those ideas have come in. If I look specifically at the idea tab down at the bottom, I can see specifics of the ideas that this organization has requested, along with status information and the details that come along with it. So this is a really helpful view. If you put yourself in the seat of a seller in your organization who's going to go speak to the AeroCycle organization. Now, before they actually have that conversation, they can come and take a look at all of this rich detail. They can have an understanding of what we've actually delivered for them that they've asked for, what's in the works, what new things they may be asking for now that we might be able to solicit more detail about. So I can really prep myself as a seller to go in and have a really good, successful, fulfilling conversation with AeroCycle and hear what they have to say, but also communicate all the great things we're doing for them. Now, if your organization does have ideas advanced and has the Salesforce integration, you're going to be able to have those people see that information right from Salesforce as well. So they can get this very same information with the ideas and the status right from their Salesforce UI to be able to do that and have that preparation before they go speak to the customers. So the Salesforce integration is one great place that can be used to feed in these organizations by sending the account information directly from Salesforce and populating that. I could also create organizations right through the application just by entering that information in, or even use the aggregation of the domains of the people supplying the input to infer the organization and roll those up that way. So lots of great ways to be able to get this data and utilize this with Ideas Advanced. So in this case, let's go back to the reports overview. And with the setup here, we're going to go ahead and create a brand new report and group those ideas by organization. And in this case, I have a real solid view of what I want to create. So I'm going to choose to go with the layout first and select a table there. I think the pivot table will be perfect for this type of layout. So I'm going to select that. And then next, I'm going to, again, start with our ideas records as getting that input. And on the record hierarchy here, I'm going to choose to expand that beyond the ideas and go into the organizations as well to pull that in. So you can see that organization name automatically pops in here to be able to group these. And I'm going to provide a little more detail within this. So I really like the breakout by status. And so I'm going to add that as columns to our pivot report so we can see that breakout. And I'm going to add a little more detail to the ideas themselves. So it'll be really helpful to be able to understand just how popular these different ideas are. And so to do that, I'm going to add in the ideas votes so that we can see that as we're viewing this as well. Now, lastly, I'm going to provide some summary information. The pivot charts are great ways to have that flexibility in the layout. They can also do aggregation for me. And so in the summary and row and column, I'm going to add counts into be able to understand just how many ideas are in each row and each column within our report. Now, the filters are the last step. And so much like the last report that we created, I only want to look at ideas that actually belong to organizations here. So I'm going to narrow this down and make sure that we're only looking at the ideas when that organization relationship is not blank. And as I create this, I now have my pivot. I have my layout here as I created it with the columns that represent the status, with the rows that represent our organizations, and the details that represent the ideas and the number of votes that they have. Now, I can further customize these views. And in this case, I'm going to go to the customize style where I have control over the look and feel of my table. So I can use different themes or customize the headers, the footers, and the bars in between the various segments that are here. I can do some coloring to highlight specific items or values that we see. But right now, what I'm going to do is just wrap my table cells to get a little more consolidation in the space and have a better view. So as I save that, I have an updated pivot report view here. So now I can see all of those columns. I can see the totals there for each one of the organizations. If I scroll down to the bottom, I see those totals for the status columns that we have in place. And so now I've created a really good view that allows a given seller to look in and understand for AeroCycle, for example, if I'm going into that same conversation with them, this is a great view that really breaks it out. Here's what we've delivered for them. Here's what's in the works. Here are some newer things that I might want to solicit some additional information and input for our product team. So a great layout for the sales organization. I'm going to go ahead and save this as well and call this ideas by organization. Okay, so now we have two of those groups fulfilled with different reports that we've created. Let's go on to group number 3 in marketing. So back to you, Austin.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Mark. So far, we've been pretty focused on customer ideas, how to capture them, how to organize them, show progress back to the sales and support teams. But now let's shift to what happens next. So when those ideas turn into features on your roadmap. So at that point in time, it's going to be critical to start bringing the marketing team in to help them help plan a successful launch. So bringing new functionality to market takes close ongoing collaboration, and marketing needs to be involved early. They need that early accurate information about what is launching, when it will be ready, where there might be risks, and then that helps them to then build launch plans that they can be confident in. So as the product manager, you're the source of truth. You already have visibility into feature progress, and if you have the right reports, you can easily share that information without having to chase down updates or share those sort of ad hoc as those requests for updates come in. On the slide here, you'll see a few examples of reports that are especially useful for marketing teams. First is a Gantt chart showing key phases and milestones alongside the features leading up to a big launch. A custom roadmap that showcases each go-to-market along a timeline, so the features that we're going to be promoting to the market. And then finally, a to-do report that helps you stay on top of ownership and responsibility as the launch progresses and gets closer. So here at AHA, we're using these same types of reports internally. We actually embed them right into our weekly product team meeting agendas, so then everybody easily stays aligned. So those reports pull in live data. So when we join that meeting, we know that the data that we're showing is live and up to date. It always reflects the latest progress. So with that, I'm going to hand it back over to Mark, who is going to show us how to create these reports for your marketing partners.
Great. Thank you, Austin. Okay, so let's go focus on marketing. And the prior reports we created from scratch, starting with the reports overview page. And this time we're going to take a little different tack. Instead of building the reports from scratch, we're going to start with our AI-powered search. The AI-powered search has really recently had some significant updates that includes the AI, the ability for the AI to group intelligently based on within the search results based on what I'm asking. So let's take a look at an example of that. I'm going to start by going into the search up in the top right corner. And in our scenario here, when we have a feature that we want to really talk about with customers when it's released, we mark it as a go-to-market feature. And so that highlights it for our marketing group to really focus in on. And so in this case, what I'm going to do is type in a search that says, I want to look for features with that go-to-market tag. And the normal search results are based on keywords. And so those are going to pull back, different records that match any and all of the keywords that I've typed in here. Now, the AI search goes a little farther than that. It actually interprets what I'm asking for here and realizes that I'm not looking for features with the word tag in them, for example, but I'm looking for features with this go-to-market tag. And so it's able to understand that and pull out the relevant search results based on that understanding. So it shows me these 5 different features that actually have that tag in place. And so that's great. It points those out for me, but I can also take this and go yet another step and actually create a report with that data. And so as I switch over into the report view, I have a simple list report with that data that I saw in the search results in those 5 different features that are here. So this is great. I can use this and create a report here, or I can add further information, further context within this as well. And so we're going to do the latter, and we're actually going to change the type of report that we're working with. So I can always use my drop down here to change the view type. I'm still looking at the same underlying data, but I can represent that different ways. We're going from a list report. We already saw a pivot and a chart. So I want to create a roadmap out of this. And so that takes me to a dialog that allows me to create a custom roadmap based on that data that, again, originated with our search results. So the first thing I'm going to do here is add a little more context. And I have the feature records that are here. I'm going to add in the release records to give us a little more information for our marketing group especially. Now on this, I want a layout of those various features. And so I'm going to show bars on the timeline and use this as the feature start and feature end date to represent the 2 sides of those bars. And we're going to label those bars so we know what they mean. In this case, we'll just add the feature name so we know which feature we're talking about. And to get a little bit more context here, within that grouping, we're already grouping by the release name, but I also want to communicate and help our marketing team to realize when those release dates are. And so I'm going to include that field in the list as well. All right, so we have a good set of data to be able to communicate to our marketing team. Let's see how this looks in a roadmap format. And so with the flexibility here, we started with that search originally, used the AI components, pulled that into a list report, switched over to a roadmap, and now I have those search results laid out for me in roadmap format. I can see those 5 different features that we have in the timeline for each one of those as we're working through. I can see how they're grouped into the releases and when that release date is. This is shaping up to be a pretty good report for our marketing group. But I can do more. So over on the right side, I'm going to go into settings and history, and I'm going to configure this report, this view a little farther as well. So number 1, I'm going to give marketing really more precise information. I'm going to show them the progress within each of these. So as we're moving forward, they have a really deep understanding of exactly where we are and know when the right time to strike is to say this is complete. Beyond that, I'm also going to give them a little broader context. I love that status when we're talking about things here. So we're going to show the feature status within our list as well. And I'm also going to communicate the key milestones that we have. And so on this custom roadmap, we can plug in those key dates that are helpful to set context for everybody. And so in my case, I know that we have an important conference coming up in June. And so I'm going to mark that on here so that our marketing team keeps that in mind as they're seeing and working through the dates that are there. I'm going to go ahead and confirm those changes. And when I refresh my view, we now see additional information that's being conveyed through this report. Number one, I see a color by the status of the various items, these features that are on here. I can see more specifically the progress, so they know actually when that's done and how close we are, so they can get their plans together. See this in the context of our releases and when those releases are happening, and also that added context of the conference date. So as we're thinking about planning, we can really get that understanding of what we can expect to have in there as we're leading up to this. So this is a great view for our marketing group to really understand what they can focus on and when for their efforts that are going along with our go-to-market release. So in this case, I'm going to save this as well, so that we're able to get back to that and share it with our marketing team, pull that into other views that we might want to have. So with that, I'm going to go back to Austin. We've covered 3 groups so far. Let's talk about our last remaining group.
Yeah, we're moving on through it. So our last group that we want to talk about is presenting reports to executives. And the executives are going to care deeply about strategy. So we're going to imagine at this point in time that the roadmap is already set. So you've worked really closely with your leadership team to align on your strategy. You've got well-defined goals and initiatives, and you've used those to help build the foundation of your roadmap, which has already been approved. And so at this point in time, what your executive team needs is visibility into progress. They want to know things like, are we delivering what we committed to? Are there risks that could impact our objectives? And are we making the right trade-offs? So as new priorities emerge, are we considering those? Being able to answer these questions clearly is going to help to maintain trust and confidence in the PM team. So you need a simple, reliable way to communicate that information without having to pull ad hoc reports or create lengthy updates every time someone asks. So on the slide here, you'll see a few examples of the types of reports that are especially useful for leadership. So a pivot table of OKRs showing goals and key results with their progress, an initiative report tracking budget spent versus planned, and a strategic roadmap that ties features directly to the initiatives and goals and helps to show that progress. The best way to pull all of these together is into a dashboard. This way you can provide one place where executives can go and get those quick insights into how the product team is driving strategic progress. So we'll also be able to pull in the reports that we already built today to really create a complete picture from strategy to delivery progress to all the way down to the direct customer impact that the product work is having. So Mark's going to show you now how to take all of those reports and pull them into one powerful dashboard that you can use to keep your leadership team informed and confident in the plan that you've got.
Great. Thank you, Austin. So to do this, let's go back to our reports overview page and use that as our starting point. Here I have a dashboard that I'm going to start with here. And so for the sake of time, already created those views that were on the slide that Austin shared just a moment ago. And we'll walk through each one of those. But before I do that, I also want to highlight some of the details that are on here up at the top. Here we have a few different text boxes. And now when we're creating a dashboard and filling this with great graphs and lists and tables of information, there's a lot that we can communicate through that. Sometimes we can't communicate everything just through the numbers and the data and the charts that are on the table. Sometimes we need to offer a little more guidance or offer some insights or some summaries of the highlights of what people are actually seeing within the data below. And so we can do that guidance by using text boxes within the dashboard. So I can add a panel, choose the text box, and provide that type of information so that it's not just the numbers that we're throwing at people, but we can also help them interpret that and really understand what that means. So at the top, we have that, a lot of flexibility within our rich text components here. So you can add really anything that you need to help get that job done. And then down below, we have the segments that Austin talked about on that prior slide. So we have our OKR status that's here. And within Enterprise Plus, you have the option of taking goals and splitting those into separate objectives and multiple key results. And so we've done that here. If you don't have Enterprise Plus, you can still show high levels of goals and the progress within that goal. But here we have the objective, the status, the progress of each one of those, and the details of the key results. And within any of the records that we include on the dashboard, we can always drill in and see that additional detail to be able to work with it or even edit it from within that. Now, over on the right side, we have our initiatives budget. And so a listing of those initiatives by status with budget information for each. And with this, I've chosen to use a custom worksheet to be able to house that financial information. The worksheets are great for being able to collect this information, to do calculations, to do roll-ups, lots of different ways to get at the data and do those custom formulations that you need to and keep that aligned with your data. So I have that in place. If I don't have Enterprise Plus, I can still create custom fields and have numeric fields that we're going to include in these reports as well. And then down below, we have a continuation of that initiative theme by getting into our strategic roadmap. So this shows the timeline of those same initiatives with the ability to click through and drill down into lower levels of detail. So the epics, the features that really make up that big effort. And within here, I can see the dependencies across those various features and those listed out on timeline, again, to get that deeper level of understanding of what our progress represents. And so here, we have those 3 different reports. And what I want to do next is add in that other data that we've created through the views that we've created today. So this is a great starting point, giving us that strategic context for our executives. We're going to add in more departmental level views and visibility to round out this dashboard. And so the way we do that is just by adding those panels. So we can add more panels and create brand new things from here. But in our case, we've already created those views that we want. So I'm just going to add in the existing. And so number 1, I'm going to pull in our ideas by themes chart that we created. And as we add in new views to the dashboard, that just goes down to the bottom. So I'm going to take these and drag them up. So we have a nice display here. Next up, I'm going to add in, again, another existing and choose our ideas by organization. So we add that to our dashboard and get that down at the bottom here again. So we have that nice pivot that's created. I'm going to change the display here, make this a little bigger and wider so we have that all the way running across. And then finally, I'm going to go in and add our go-to-market. And so we have this roadmap that we last created. And so again, this is going to go down at the bottom of our list, and I'll take this and just stretch this across as well to have a nice even display within that. So now we've really rounded out our dashboard for our executives. We have high-level strategic information, we have some guidance for them, and then we have some lower-level departmental level information to help them understand these various aspects. And so this is a great view. And before we actually share this with others, I want to call out the ability up at the top to actually filter this data as well. And so if in your organization you have certain standards and certain ways where you want to look at, say, product A, then product B, then product C, all within the same framework, the filters are great for doing that. You can build out a dashboard for the executive product view And you can put this filter on here so that the users can just switch from one product to the other. You don't have to create separate dashboards for all the different organizations if you want them to follow the same structure. So it's a really great way to have that flexibility and build that right into the structure you're creating. Big time saver for those of you who would actually be creating the dashboards. Now, if I want to share this, I can share this with others in the organization. And so if those others are already AHA users, then they are able to just take this first link that's here, and I can give them a link right to this dashboard in the application. They can get there, they can view it, and they can work with it that way. If the individuals are not AHA users, I can share this as a web page for them. And so they don't even have to be AHA users to be able to see all of this goodness that we're creating and sharing with them. The shared web page gives them a read-only view of this information and allows them to get to different details that we can additionally share with them. So as I enable sharing of that web page, I get a different URL for that to be able to share that information. We can choose to enable those filters even on the shared web page, so they have that flexibility to jump, for example, between products and see the details. I can also choose to add in the drill throughs. So as we have the charts and click on those various items, I can have that capability again through that shared web page. Or as we choose to click on individual records, we can allow that capability within our shared web page. And we can configure exactly what information we want to share within that given record as people do that. So by default, we get a set of data that's there. We're, for our features, also including the assigned to information so that we can really drill down and understand who to talk to if we have specific questions on that. So as we configure this, I have the option here to preview that report and look at it in the eyes of somebody who would receive it as a shared web page. And so in this particular view, it's a little more streamlined. I don't have the Chrome and the navigation up on the top. We just get right to the dashboard page itself and the data. So I have my contents and my guidance. I have the details that are here. I can scroll through this and see all those segments, those panels that we added in. And I have those additional capabilities. So I can look through this and hover to understand what these different status values represent. If I want to see what was actually shipped as part of the ideas under this advanced analytics theme, then I can click through and drill through that because we enable that for our dashboard. Now, the other item that we enabled, if you remember, is the drill through on specific records. And so here, as I click on this particular feature, you can see the attributes that we chose to share here, including that assigned to. So if I have questions on this feature, I know who to go to within the organization. So the flexibility here should be pretty obvious at this point. With the charts, the roadmaps, the different views that you can create, the way that you can package these together, and the ability to provide that next level of information, kind of that back pocket information as you go in, so that you can allow people to self-serve on all of this and allow them to drill through and get to the next level of detail that might answer the questions that come up as they're viewing this. So it's a great way to be able to share, consolidate information across your organization. And with that, that really rounds out the views that we wanted to share today. So I think we have a few minutes left for questions. So over to you, Catherine, to see what questions have come in.
Yes, thank you, Mark and Austin. You both covered so much goodness about building reports for all of those stakeholders. I know we are at time, but I do want to squeeze in two quick questions if any folks can stay on. So the first to Mark, some folks are curious if there are some pre-built reports to help get started really quickly.
Absolutely, that's a great one. So we created items from scratch in different ways here to be able to get to that. But you can also leverage a pretty strong library of reports that just come out of the box. And so going back to our reports overview page, we have a whole example report section here. And again, by record type or report type, you can drill in to be able to see example reports with layouts. And this is a great way to get started on creating your report. You can just click through on these, take a look at an example, and then again, you can further customize, save this off as your own to be able to work with it going forward.
Awesome. And then last question to you, Austin. Thought it'd be fun to end on. What new features have been added to reports recently?
Oh, fun. Yes. Well, we're adding a lot to reports all the time. Few that come to mind. Mark showed the drill in for charts. That was a big win that came earlier this year. We've also been really focused on history, so helping to understand what's changed in your plans. So we added the history panel that used to be available just on our roadmaps. We've added that into lists and pivots as well now. So if you have a pivot, say, of all the features by status, you can expand that history panel and see any that have had a release change or a date change, things like that. And we've also added a full history reporting table. So now you can actually build your own custom reports for auditing changes. So if you don't get the detail you need in that summary in the slide out panel, you can build your own custom reports as well.
Yes, awesome. I know that was an idea lots and lots of people voted for, so that was exciting to deliver. Well, thank you both. That's all the time we have for today. I hope you all now feel equipped to report with confidence and share that right level of information with the right stakeholders. So thank you all again for joining us. See you next time.